The next topic 3, is the main topic, which Josh will be talking about, but we are discussing the North Korean flood.
Yes. I'm just going to set up with some information I found through some various news outlets, and then I'm going to pose some questions. See what you guys think about this? Because it's a pretty big deal recently. I got these stories. They came out within the last 2 or 3 days, so pretty recent stories. Strong winds and flash floods caused by Typhoon Lionrock have caused extreme damage in northern North Korea, right next to the Chinese border. A UN report says that tens of thousands of people are displaced. I read estimates of over 100,000. Homes, buildings, and critical infrastructure are destroyed. 133 people are dead. 395 people are missing. And at least 35,500 houses, schools, and public buildings are damaged, and close to 70% of those are completely destroyed, unusable.
Wow.
That all was from Yahoo source. This one's from CNN. North Korea has asked for aid from the international community, which is interesting because they don't do that often at all, if ever.
They're very close.
I read that it's been heard of, but it's absolutely not common. So they've asked for aid, but this has come just a few days after their 5th nuclear missile test, which people have been furious about, of course.
As you would.
It's caused a lot of ruckus. The affected area in North Korea is known for being particularly impoverished, and forces considered to be hostile to the North Korean regime are known to be present there, which is interesting. According to the Human Rights Watch, North Korea ranks 178th in the Index of Economic Freedom. So that's pretty low in the scope of things as far as countries go. And they say that North Korea has exceptionally bad human rights record. So with all this information, I just wanted to talk about this and discuss what do we think Americans should do in this situation, or America in general. What do you guys think? Should we help? Should we...
I think we should help cautiously.
Okay.
I don't think we should send them millions of dollars in aid and supplies and everything when there is a strong possibility that they will stab us in the back if they do get their nuclear missile stuff ready. Granted, people still say it's going to be years before they actually have the technology to do anything. What do you all think?
It's tough.
Yeah.
And also, are these North Korean numbers or independent numbers? Because if it's North Korean numbers, chances are they are lower than the actual truth.
North Korea reported some numbers, but those numbers I read earlier were from the United Nations.
Okay, so they're accurate.
They
So
went
the
in.
UN's been allowed in.
Yes, the UN has been allowed in.
Well, that's a huge step.
That's a big step
Yes.
right there.
Right there, yeah. I don't know. How should the U.S. respond? It's
Well-
a slippery... It's a tough spot to
It's
be
a
in.
complex issue.
Yeah, because they've shown in the past that if we give them money or food, it just gets
spent
corrupted.
on the government and
Yeah.
like the military.
Yeah. But they probably wouldn't allow us to put boots on the ground and go into the country to help.
No, see, and that's the other thing I was going to say. Regardless, I am sure there's definitely talks amongst the nations about how North Korea is in a very weakened state right now.
That's true. This could be the time to topple North Korea.
Exactly, and I'm not saying that they should. I think they should. Not that I agree with North Korea, but I don't know. I think that there's definitely a strong chance that another country is going to take this chance because, North Korea is obviously weakened and they're letting people in, which they don't do.
Right.
And regardless of what anyone feels, how they feel about the situation, now's the time.
The only issue with that is China keeps holding firm that if anyone invades North Korea, China will respond to the invader.
Really?
I know that's why the United States hasn't done much, is China and North Korea have a very strong tie.
Really? I wasn't actually
do.
aware of that.
They do.
Yeah, China protects their northern border.
Did not know that.
And China's military is kind of the backing of North Korea for holding off invasions and sanctions and stuff.
Can I ask why?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably because they are still holding on to communism in China.
That's fair.
I know they're working towards the future and reforming, but they are still very much holding on to the roots of communism. So it could be that there's that tie there. It could be like a mutual relationship.
Korea used to be
where-
a piece of China.
It did.
If I'm not mistaken.
Well,
It could be China is playing the long game of this is China's time to move in and take back the country. I don't know.
and
that
the
would be
whole,
interesting.
I think that would still be preferred than,
The Chinese at least don't kill their own people
Well,
as
see,
much as North Korea
that's the
does.
thing,
So
right?
that would
Like,
be a step up.
you at least know in China, if you give them aid and things, it actually does go to the people for the most part.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. Like I said, hostile forces are known to be in this region. Hostile forces, meaning people who would like to overthrow the government. Because people in North Korea are not happy. This is
No.
commonly known.
No. Why would you be?
And so
They were the saddest people I've ever seen walking into the Olympics. They're athletes.
Mm-hmm.
None of them looked like
They
they
were all
looked
serious.
emaciated. They looked like they did not want to be there.
Yeah.
so
They were not proud of the outfits they were wearing.
that
for sure.
adds an extra level of complexity to the issue, because it's not the average country looking for aid.
Exactly. Right?
This is a place where people are oppressed and impoverished, and there no one talks about it except for people who are wanting to overthrow. So
People who talk about it disappear.
yeah,
Yeah, and that raises the question of, since this area is known to be an area of dissension, is North Korea doing anything about it?
They
or
are.
are they letting nature kind of deal with it?
North
with the-
Korean soldiers have been tasked to go to these areas similarly to how our National Guard would, or things, or FEMA, or whatever, go to these places and help rebuild, help clear debris, do relief work. And so North Korea is definitely working really hard to alleviate this situation, but it's come to a point where they've admitted that they're not in a position of strength. They're asking for help. So
If I'm not mistaken, isn't the vast majority of North Korea's population in the military in some capacity?
I believe they have to
not
be
sure.
in South Korea. There is a certain age that you have to spend at least like a year or two in the military, and I'm not sure about North Korea, but I know in South Korea that is a thing that they do.
Okay.
And that's not that uncommon. Like Switzerland has that.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
But I don't know about that. It would not surprise me.
nah.
So are they not allowing are they not allowing people in, just aid?
Well, the UN obviously.
The UN's in, but the UN is
obviously-
different than
Yeah.
Yeah,
allowing.
but they're actually allowing numbers to leave. So
Through the articles I read through multiple articles on this, and all I know is that North Korea has been asking for aid. I don't know if boots are on the ground, like you mentioned. I don't know if foreigners are coming in to help. That seems unlikely, but then again, if they're in this position of weakness and they're open about that, it could be a possibility.
well, my thought is probably what might happen is I figure countries will want boots on the ground before they are going to send aid. So I would not be surprised if we actually see a holdout on aid until North Korea allows for people to go in.
That is true. Does this give us a bit of leverage that we haven't really had in the past?
Because if nothing else, they at least probably want to assess the situation for themselves. Because even though the UN is releasing numbers, they probably still want to see and make sure this is what's going to happen with their money and aid before they do it. So I would absolutely hope, at least, that there might be some sort of holdout.
But on the other side, these are innocent people,
Yeah.
and we
They
need
are
to
innocent
help
people.
these innocent people. They've not had much help in the past in anything, but we have the opportunity now.
Well, and I guess it goes back to, we have given North Korea aid in the past, which they haven't spent on their country. I mean, for their people. So,
Yeah.
so for all we know, they're going to use that to further military and whatever, and just, let their military people try to do what they can do.
This
Right. That is a concern.
This brings me to my second question, which will add yet more complexity to the issue. How should we, as followers of Jesus, think about this issue and try to tackle this issue?
Well, I mean, that's simple. We have to pray about it. We have to help them regardless. We're all called to love them. So, and I mean, they're innocent people.
Yeah.
We have no, I mean, I don't want to say we have no option, but if you are an actual follower of Christ, you kind of don't really have much of a say in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Here in the States, we think of North Korea as our enemy. We think of them as evil. And that could be true in the government. It's hard to say, but Jesus did say to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. And he said to give to those who ask of you, which is super
Yeah.
tough, especially when we do know that there's a huge possibility that they would just use it for corrupt reasons, or that they should be overthrown, possibly. Super tough.
Well, I guess that's the thing, right? Like, I maintain a strong, even though I'm a Christian, I maintain a strong separation of church and state. So, if we are going to help, that is one thing. But I do not think by any means that our country is obligated to help.
No.
No, because America is not a Christian nation.
Well,
no matter
yeah.
what people think, so we don't have that obligation. But as people, as the people of America, I think that we
As
do have an
the
obligation.
followers of Christ.
Yes.
Yeah. America is not the world police.
It's
We've
not.
tried to be, but I think we're coming to realize that we're not, and we can't go into countries and overthrow them and do all this crazy stuff anymore.
It just doesn't work.
I think this is a unique opportunity to show North Korea that peace is possible. Like, there are countries in the UN that want peace, that want these nuclear tests to stop, that want the oppression to stop. And I think this is an opportunity to show that in good faith. We're going to help you, even though we know this stuff is going on. I don't know. That's how I see it. It's really complex.
Yeah,
It really
I mean,
is.
it's beyond complex. It's a whole thing, and we can sit here and talk about it for hours, but it's going to take better minds than ours
Yeah.
to
Definitely.
And more power
decide
than we have.
Yeah.
decide what to do
Yeah.
about this situation.
What I wonder is there a way that we as people, not as a nation, but just as the church, to get help to North Korea? Are there any organizations that we can support that we know are legitimate that provide aid?
I'm pretty sure the UN, don't they have some... If the UN's in, I'm sure they have, like, groups that are UN affiliated that are going in and helping to some degree.
It's hard to say.
I don't know. I'm just asking this.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know
Yeah.
of specific organizations because, for instance, mission organizations that work in areas like China or North Korea are usually very
Secretive?
secretive.
Yeah.
They're doing this illegally, of course. They're
Yeah.
trying to help these people illegally and sometimes even evangelize them illegally. And so I don't know of any specific organizations that have come out and said, like, we're working in North Korea. But
And
I'm sure there are.
if they did,
I've heard
then
there are.
I don't think that they'd want people talking about the fact that
Yeah,
they're there.
yeah,
Like,
so-
And,
And-
it's very dangerous.
And
Very
is
dangerous.
that a fear that if the North Korean government is going around checking and making sure that people are there and who is there, are people that are missionaries and things likely to be found now during all this disaster?
They could be.
I'm sure it's a factor for the North Korean government because, as it is, they already search for Bibles and other religious texts and things like that. It is not sanctioned at all in North Korea, so I'm sure that's on their mind. But
Yeah. But
it's possible.
you know, evangelism is so much more than giving someone a Bible.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
think that if we could go in under the official pretense of we are here to provide flood relief, that in and of itself is a great mission that we can show these people that we are outsiders, that we're not evil, that we love you,
Yeah.
and that we can tell them about someone who loves them more than anyone on earth can, who
Yeah.
can save them, and who they can put their hope in beyond their evil government. I think that would be an incredible thing to do if we could be allowed in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, with that, help us pray for North Korea. Keep up on the story because this is probably going to be big for a while. We want to see what happens. We want to see what God can do in this situation. So,
and pray for our troops because if there is a point when we can put boots on the ground, or if North Korea ever were to mobilize, I do have a friend in Osaka, Japan, stationed, and that worries me sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
big stuff.
Okay.
Tough topic.
Well, is that all we have to say about that?
Sure.
I think it is. I think we covered it as best we can.
Yeah.
All right. Well.